this is one of my favorite charts in the deck, mainly because I built it, but also because I think it's pretty poignant. Basically what you've got here is on the y-axis, you've got the states ranked from 1 to 50, 51, because we've got District of Columbia in here, although Alaska and Hawaii aren't in here. And basically what it is using for its data source is United Van Line interstate moving data. They've been tracking this data for 40 years, basically what state someone moves from and what state someone moves to. And so what you see on the y-axis is essentially the states that are most heavily being moved to at the bottom in green. So basically your rank would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the 5 most moved to states in the country. Meanwhile, at the top of the chart are the states where people are moving out of at the fastest rate. And this is using a blend of 2016 and 2017 data. Now bear in mind this is all pre-tax law change. So on the x-axis, we've brought in total state and local tax burdens. And this is using median data. And the point is that there's a pretty good relationship here. It's not perfect. The R-squared is 0.31. But I think anybody who looks at this data would be hard-pressed to push back on the idea that states that generally offer a lower tax regime are seeing a fair amount of in-migration, whereas those that are at the upper end of the tax regime are seeing a lot of out-migration. Now, there are other factors at risk. There's job prospects, there's weather, there's school systems, and so forth, and other reasons beyond that. But at the end of the day, taxes do play a pretty big role here. And as you can see, the states that are kind of worse positioned here are Illinois, dead last, both in terms of taxes and out-migration, but followed not that far behind by the tri-state. So New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey are all in the top 5 in terms of rates of out-migration. So to bring it back to things that we care about from an investment standpoint, if we look at slide 47, this is the breakdown at the state level of residential construction activity, basically the percentage of total national residential construction activity. This is year-to-date 2017 through the month of November. And as you can see, the big heavies, not surprisingly, are Texas, Florida, California, and then you've got North Carolina, Georgia. Basically, those are sort of the green states. You've got some, I should throw Washington in there as well. Then you've got yellow states. You've got Arizona, Colorado, Tennessee, Virginia, actually New York. And then you can see the red states where there's just not a lot of construction going on. And it makes sense, right? I mean, people are leaving these states, so why do you need to build a lot more homes? So on slide 48, it's the same thing, but instead of total construction, it's just single family. And then on 49, we thought we'd take a quick look at some of the publicly traded home builders, specifically at their exposures to both Texas and Florida, which are some of the best markets from a sort of long-term demographic standpoint. And the ones that really stand out as having a lot of exposure here, favorable exposure, are D.R. Horton, DHI, Lennar, Taylor Morrison, Meritage, whereas all these publicly traded names in the middle, particularly the ones in red, clearly are underweight these 2 major markets. Now, I realize they have other things going for them, et cetera, but this is sort of what we're focusing on at the moment.